And welcome, Destiny Christian Church. I'm so glad to be with you today. And remember to check out the church website, destinychristianniagara.com. And there you'll find events, and calendar things and sermons. And you can connect directly to YouTube from there. Also check out our Facebook. And so glad to be with you today. And I want to talk to you today about something Jesus said about not having, it's impossible to have two masters at the same time. In other words, to serve two things at the same time. And Bob Dylan picked up on this truth in the scriptural truth and sang a song, you got to serve somebody, right? And here's the scripture. He says, no one can serve two masters, for a slave will either hate the one and love the other, or be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. Now, this scripture, I contend, is not about just wealth. It could be about anything. Anything in my life can be a temptation of becoming a master over me, over God, right? In opposition to God. And it could be a friendship, it could be a hobby, it could be anything in my life. It could be something I really enjoy doing, or something I like, or a possession, or a material thing that is important to me. That can become a master of my life. And the point Jesus is making here is very powerful, because he's basically saying that you can't have it both ways. That it's impossible to be totally devoted to two things at the same time. And it has already been disproven on multiple articles, the idea of multitasking. The ongoing joke that women can multitask. They say that technically that's not true, because yes, you could probably do two things at the same time, but you can't do them 100% well. That's the point. And so technically it's impossible to multitask. So when someone claims to love more, to love something more, or as an example, when someone claims to love more than one person, what they're really saying is, I love myself, because you only have one master. You can only love one thing, because to choose one is to reject the other. And this is why when a Christian tries to say, well, I want to serve Jesus, but I also want to live my lifestyle, or, my sinful lifestyle my way, you can't have two masters. It's wealth is only an example. Sin is another example, right? That we either give God all that we are, and he's our master, or we give something else all that we are, and that becomes our master. So ask yourself the question today, do I ever try to serve two masters? Is there something in my life that maybe is taking or has taken more time than it should? Is there a way that I am acting or responding to something that is in my eyes, and God's eyes for that matter, represents another master, let's say? And if so, guard your heart, deal with it, surrender to God, say, Lord, you are my master. I don't want that thing to have all of my energy and time and attention, but I want you to be the center of my life. I want you to be what my life revolves around, and let that thing, whatever it is, just be an added thing, an appendage, just something, an afterthought. So no one can serve two masters, for a slave will either hate the one or they will love the other. And so that word hate doesn't necessarily mean I hate you as much as reject. It means reject. When God says, Jacob I loved, Esau I hated, that word is reject. It's not really hate. But to love one is to reject the other. And so to choose one is to reject the other. And that's why choosing Christ means that I must choose all of Christ, or I can have none of Christ. I can't modify my commitment and say, well, I just want parts of Christ that make me happy, or parts of Christ that, are therapeutic to me. I have to take him the good and the bad, because there will be challenges in my life where I will be offended by Christ, where following him has a price to it, because people, may stand against you as a believer, So till next time, I want you to think about that, about, am I serving two masters? And go to the Lord with it and say, Lord, I give it to you if that's the case. And so till next time, thanks for listening. And if you ever have any podcast suggestions or ideas you want to hear, please let me know, and we'll be glad to maybe consider them. Till next time, God bless you. Glad to be with you. God bless.